Welcome back. My name is Mulligan and this is the Kickstarter of Xenonauts 2. For the 25th of April we got a new update. So closed beta version 4 was released and $X pre-orders, which we will come to in a bit. Now the closed beta update was released last week with a couple bug fixes in between. And I did play a little bit. Sadly, it crashed again this time around with another error. But okay, can happen. One thing I would recommend if you play this version, do not go the fastest speed if you want to intercept something. It seems like I send my interceptor off to intercept a UFO, go on the fastest speed, which is speed 4, and it just doesn't work. They just fling around, not really fighting. I guess there is some frame skipping going on, something along those lines. So maybe just a problem for me. Just want to point that out. So a couple things they did. They included the basic research tree, which we can now follow along. It's not the final version, but this update is mostly putting new stuff in, see if stuff works, and then getting the polished versions in later. As example, the research tree, which it is not the final one. Another one, I believe new UFOs were added, but that is, I believe, a little bit later on. We can now play a lot longer on the Geoscape. Instead of 30 days, a couple months, 8 different UFO types, research, manufacture, all that good stuff. We have a full full patch notes we can go over in a bit. And they did show a sneak peek of the new in-combat UI they want to use. So this is the new UI, not the one we have more or less now. So you have your main character, your secondary, your primary, different shot types, from normal to aimed, and then your ammunition. They did say that they want to change the different crosshairs, not just have them, I guess, this way. Maybe have some special shot crosshair for the highest aim. Who knows? Maybe they just change it to what you have in game, so it goes around piece by piece until you get to auto. Grenades will be shown over the secondaries, which I believe would probably be better over the main character, maybe under the main character. We will see what they decide to do. They are now going to revamp the whole art style. Not revamp, but they go and replace all the art assets they had from Xenonauts 1 with new art assets for Xenonauts 2. They had a couple placeholders that were from the first game. They're going to slowly but surely change those out finally, so it gets a little bit of a more polished feel. That is pretty nice. I still don't like how the UFO looks on ground, because I have the feeling in Xenonauts 1 the UFOs had at least some kind of Terran design or similar. You had your entranceway and you had different areas, but here it seems like everything is round in some kind of way. At least the ones that I saw until the game crashed. So I don't know if later ones will be different, but that is just a personal opinion. You can destroy walls, which is fantastic. I'm willing to take this trade-off for destroyable walls and then having a more simpler design, because destroying walls is a huge plus in the strategic area, which is not really possible in Xenonauts 1. There were mods that tried that, and I guess it didn't really work all the time, only specific times. So as long as that is still in the game, which it is right now, I'm okay with that. They did even introduce the Interceptors now. Similar to Xenonauts 1, Interceptor can spawn and they will try to intercept your Interceptor before they can reach some UFO which you are trying to target. And they have squad sight, which they described as quad sight. So if your Interceptor is in, let's say, America, and you try to intercept something in Europe, then he can try to intercept the ones that are trying to go to Europe. Which is a good way to get the air combat going. They do want to change a little bit about that, but what exactly, I have no idea. And they have some kind of... Okay, for people that miss the Kickstarter, you can now pre-order beta access on $X. Never heard about that, so no clue. But this is, I guess, is the beta access if you didn't get to go with the Kickstarter because you didn't have money or whatever. This is how you can get access. Now, it does say here it is still in beta. I don't know when they plan to really release the early access version. Probably after they finished the whole first of the UI, then replacing all the temporary assets, maybe polishing a little bit here and there, and then it probably goes into early access. So for the patch notes, we have units not dying. I mean, this is a problem that not only Xenonauts 2 has, but a lot of games have this problem. You probably know that. You go somewhere, you kill someone, and he just stands. He doesn't die, no animations plays, he's not falling to the ground. Maybe sometimes he just T-poses, and that is it, whatever. And it seems they had the same problem. They hope it is fixed now. Research tree framework, not the full extent. UFOs, they did say they want to make another pass on the 2D strategic layer art. What exactly that means, I don't know. If they change the whole art, or maybe polish that a little bit. Here we have now alien fighter UFOs that are going to aggressively chase your interceptors. We have Infiltrator strategic operations now. Last time they added little missions you can send your soldiers on, similar to like XCOM 2. You can send your soldiers, you have three, at least in the ones that I saw, you have 3 different rewards you can choose from. One is engineers, one is scientists, one is just cash. Similar to if you have a crash site and you just can't get to it and it disappears, you can now send people there, or you could send people there, and they just would retrieve whatever they found. Which is a good way to not lose out on stuff if you can't really get to that mission because you have other missions to do, whatever be the case. And now they have Infiltrator operations going on, that if they are in a mission, they will just inflict a permanent -10 relations as long as they are there. You have to send a couple soldiers and more or less kill the Infiltrator, and that is it. It takes, if you are... I had my base in Africa again, and I had missions in like Europe, which took approximately 5 days to do. So you do bind your soldiers for a long time if you want to do these missions. And now you start with a couple of these small missions, not of the Infiltrator ones, but the normal ones where you can get cash, which is pretty appreciated, because you can now use your soldiers and not have them just stand around. Interceptor Armour and engines. This is what I said, they want to revisit that a little bit, another pass on air combat. Because you can customize your Interceptor, and it probably can be pretty easy if you have that one design that just works. And strategic layer balance, this is... they did balance the early game a little bit, but they do have to go back in and go through the whole game to see if the balance works. So before you could start with a raid as the first mission, quote unquote, which is not easy because you have like 8 guys that spawn and they have laser weapons. They two-shot your guys, which they do not do that much anymore. They did nerf a lot. So that is definitely what they are going through again. The first couple weeks should be okay, if you can believe what they say, which depends on the person. Now the changelogs, we have less tough enemies. They start with 60% TUs, so the first round swarm out doesn't work anymore because they cannot react. Their reaction is absurd, because I even have, if I'm on a mission and we are trading blows and they move, shoot, they still have time units to react if I do stuff, which is really? But okay, they changed laser weapons now regenerate ammo each turn, but cannot reload. On the other side, the plasma weapons drain ammo each turn, but don't need to be reloaded, I guess. And the time unit cost is now in line with ballistic weapons. And we have, what do we have? Missions and strategic operations explain the effects and rewards. That is what I said. I could choose between 3. I don't know if they want to introduce more rewards later, but we will see. The pre-game turn is where they spawn strategic operations, which you can send your soldiers on, because at the beginning you probably don't have too much to do. Funding, right. That was a big thing. So costs and funding are now represented in millions, not in thousands. Before you had like, oh, this plane costs like $500. Really? Now it costs 400k, which just feels right. It feels better than in the thousands. It feels just, oh, this is really an expensive plane that you are sending off and not something you could buy. Never really... Okay, I did see a raid, but a terror site, I'm lucky not to see any of these. Couple, yeah, big bug fix that you can have more than 9 soldiers now. Yay! They changed a couple or improved a couple textures on the maps. You now have civilians that spawn on the map have the right visuals for the biome they spawn in. You don't have the normal city dweller in a desert map, as example. 3D models for weapons are in the game for advanced human weapons, and they will be used for the 2D sprites later. They changed a couple other stuff, nothing really big, and naturally the bug fixes, which is always important. And that was mostly it. Now, one thing I would like, playing a little bit more. I don't want to play too much, just because as soon as it goes early access, and I guess we can use or make videos, I would then go and play through. But one thing I do not like, first off, is the enemy hidden movement sticker that is on the screen again for no apparent reason. Don't like that at all. First mod that I will install will remove that. And I hope they can. I don't know if that is not on the priority, or they can't really change that, or it will be changed later, but it feels not as fluent. If I have an alien and he wants to shoot 3 times, he shoots once, and then the game jiggers around, and then the game focuses on the alien again, he shoots the 2nd time, and the game jiggers around, and then a 3rd time. Which doesn't feel that fluid. I would like to have him bam, 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 next alien. Then have a little bit of a slower transition to the next alien, let him move, bam, bam, and then slower transition instead of having between every shot a little transition for I don't know what reason. And they are just pretty strong. Yeah, aliens are really, really strong. I did have a mission that was bugged. I had a really long desert mission. I don't know why it was really long. It wasn't, the width was not really that big, but it was really long. And the aliens didn't move out of the ship. I just went to the ship, no aliens, no civilians, opened the ship, and they were huddling around some terminals. My heavy grenade launcher was then go, yeah, and I lost 2 guys because that is how I am. Another thing, last thing I want to mention, why can't I shoot inside? This is one thing I don't really understand. If I have a Xenonaut at the door on the right or left side, I open the door, I see someone, the door frame is blocking my shot. Why? Why can't I shoot in a 45 degree? I mean, my soldier would just go and look around a little bit and shoot a couple shots, but I have to stand in the door, and even then I have problems shooting people inside. So I don't know why that is. I hope that... I don't know if that is a design decision. I mean, I can blow up the door. I can just blow up the whole side of the ship, which I did with the heavy grenade launcher. That was pretty easy. He could shoot inside because I can shoot straight in. That is no problem. But there's no alien standing there. The grenade launcher has AoE, so he doesn't really care. But it's pretty bad for my sniper, mostly. Nah, mostly for my shotgun. I believe my sniper can shoot too, but I believe if you stand right at that left or right spot, you can't. But if you go 1 space back, maybe you can. I would have to check that. But that was it. And next up, they said the version 5 is maybe coming in 3 or 4 weeks. So that would mean next month we have another update. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.